What is up, people of the internet? We're doing something a little different tonight. We're going to take a break. We've had a lot of comics talk this year, a lot of exciting events here at Part Time Comics, but we do like to dip our feet into other hobbies. We have played live on the channel before, so hopefully people have enjoyed that. But today we thought we'd do something a little bit different because somebody in the circle of players of which I play with at the amazing fantasy store in Frankfurt has made a top 16 appearance at DLC Milwaukee. That's where I was this weekend. Just went out for one day. For people who aren't familiar, DLC Disney Lorcana Challenge is a tournament that it's kind of the biggest tournament, similar to a Magic Grand Prix, if anybody knows what those are. I did not play in the main event. If you're watching this and you're in, one of the Facebook groups I'm in, I'm an Amethyst Steel enjoyer. It was won by Frank Carson on Amethyst Steel, so that was cool to see. I played Amethyst Steel and Infinity in the side events. I can talk about that in another video if people are interested. Comment below or let me know if you want to see more content like this. But let's bring out our guest, the now infamous Jesse Cora. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Maybe not as good as you. I came home with a side event or a prize wall Elsa, but that certainly wasn't as good as your run.
Yeah. I was not expecting it at all. Like I mean, I prepared, as best as I thought I could to go in there for 3 wins and just to get that Mulan promo for the 3 wins. And apparently I went above and beyond and just kind of kept winning. But to tell you the truth, I kind of owe you for my little run. When we played the set champ at AF at Amazing Fantasy, you were on Amethyst Steel, I think, that one day, and you beat me on my Blurple deck. And so I was in between the two. I had both sleeves up, and I chose poorly that day because you were my first loss, which kept me out of any kind of top cut for that one. But yeah, it kind of solidified me playing that deck for this meta, and I kind of kept running with it, and then went on to do. Yeah, there's my everybody's been giving me some gruff about not smiling in this photo, but my wife included. But yeah, I went on to have a pretty good run.
Yeah, and you spoiled one of the things I was going to ask you about.
Yeah.
Obviously, the thrashing that I gave you
Yes.
in the set champs,
Yeah.
it just destroyed your faith in Blurple, the best deck in the format. So I was going to take credit fully for that.
Absolutely, you should. And it was funny because as we were, talking, or you had asked me about this, I was looking back on anything to talk about. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's actually his fault I did this.
Well, that is funny how these things work out. Well, I'm glad that you did play it. I was actually shocked when you told me. I didn't run into you until the third or fourth round. I think by like 6 p.m. you guys were in the third round or something.
Yeah.
And I was surprised. Yeah, I didn't peg you for an Amber Steel player. So besides my thrashing, what else kind of helped you kind of come to that conclusion, or tell us about your lead up to the event? How much did you play Amber Steel? What else went into the decision making?
Sure. Yeah. So this set I started off as playing Blurple, so Amethyst, Sapphire, Blue Purple, and I liked it. There were many things I like about the deck. But overall I just kept feeling like if you didn't find ramp, if you didn't find the cards you kind of needed late game, you had a hard time, especially against some of the aggro decks. And being such a big event, everybody that that whether it be a podcaster or friends, they say just play something, play something that you can do long term for the day, especially with how many matches you have to play. And there's nothing quite as easy as just turning cards sideways and putting them down. So Amber Steel seemed like a good safe choice, and into the meta with Blurple being such a prevalent deck. I figured it would be still make up a decent amount of the percentages. So I decided to go with Amber Steel. Yeah, I had played it a couple of times before. I think actually 2 set champs. I do try to mix it up a little bit, but I had actually won 2 set champs with Amber Steel previously, and so I wanted to give it another shot and keep going with it, and ended up kind of going on a pretty good run.
And that's what I played in set champs and what I had sleeved up. I'm normally an amethyst steel or emerald, amethyst enjoyer. I've dabbled in other things like you
Right.
said, but I definitely like to turn them sideways, and I like the effects of the first core constructed environment of bouncing things and drawing cards
Right.
and stuff like
Right.
that. So I've
Yeah.
kind of been on that for a while, but yeah, I kind of settled into Amber Steel. Had I played in the event, I would have. I brought it to play in core side events and just figured, yeah, let's. It's been very good this set. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
definitely.
I thought kind of last minute, and again, the reason I didn't is because I had all the reps into Amethyst or Amber Steel. I thought about taking Amethyst Steel. I have all the cards and everything, and I have reps into most of the cards, but maybe just not collectively um, in that deck specifically. But again, I chose to go with what I had been playing for the last few weeks and what I'd been testing with our friend group and things like that. And so it was kind of my choice. Some of the cards aren't. I didn't really go into anything with spiciness or anything. I didn't change much. I did drop a few cards. A lot of the Amber Steel decks run the Troubadour to sing strength on turn on 3. I cut that. I never felt like it was a card that I wanted to see late game. And I had other options to sing strength on 3. So the Tiana package or the Rhino package definitely helped out. You know, taking out other aggro decks or just kind of stabilizing when I needed to. Tiana being one of the main cards for Amber right now. She was great. She got me all the way to where 13th place. So it was a good run. But yeah, my day definitely didn't start off the way I kind of hoped. Like I said, I wanted 3 wins was my goal. And my first round opponent, I believe his name was Rich from New York. He it went 3, but he beat me on Blurple. So
Mm,
I lost my very first match of the day.
I
Kind
didn't
of.
know that.
Yeah, yeah. And so I lost my very first one. Came back to the group with my my tail between my legs, and um, head held a little low, and talking to everybody else who kind of took their first match, and it sounded like it was pretty easy for them. And I'm like, oh man, like this is going to be another Chicago event where I just kind of keep struggling to get a win. And it's quickly turned around where I just started racking up wins, and then I ended up the day one. I ended up 7-1, so I went on a 7-0 streak on day one to finish out the first day. So making day two.
Yeah, and I haven't played in a ton of big events for people who aren't familiar. Um, they've done things a little differently with Lorcana, so but now they're kind of settling into. It looks like the format's going to be like you said, a day one, a day two cut, then a top 32 based on attendance of the event. That can change, but I don't think people realize how much you have to win in a row at these events, because
Yeah,
most of the people are going to make that top cut. And this is the same for Magic too. And Magic has an even less of a cut, usually just top 8. So you have to really rattle off a lot of wins. So yeah, like you said, it was very important to finish the day with all those wins, and then you're 7-1 going in. Gave
right.
yourself a little bit of room, a little bit,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
much,
a little
but
bit. Not much. I mean, I was in better shape than others. There was a couple of other people who we either know personally or through the Chicagoland area community of players. There's a few other teams in the area that we know the players, the predominant players, and they were 6-2 on that day. And so the 6 wins, getting 18 points, so you get 3 points per win. Getting 18 points guaranteed you a lock for day two. But then from there, you had to play your other 4 rounds of Swiss, and depending on after all the dust settled from those 12 rounds collectively, they cut to with top 64 got a different promo. So if you were in the top 64, you got another promo card, and then if you were within that top 32, you made it for the top cut, so you were still kind of in it for the rest of the tournament. And then also you got a different promo card. So I believe it was the Elsa for the top 32, and Simba I believe was the top 64. So yeah, again, there were a lot of good people, a lot of good competitors who were 6-2 and kind of needed to win out the rest of the day, or on day two Saturday, or excuse me, Sunday morning. Um, and I believe in the Chicago area, I might have been the only one that made, and don't quote me on that. There might have been one or two others, but I think I was the only one that made the top 32.
Well, that was how I was advertising it today, so we'll go with
Yeah.
that. I mean, I
No,
believe you
yeah,
were
yeah,
the
yeah.
only
I think
the only
when I was
homegrown
looking through
player of all
the
these people invading, and you were the only
yeah,
one. So that's part of the reason I wanted to talk to you. I think that was important. I know you kind of downplayed it when we talked privately, but there's only been about 10 or 12 of these things, so
yeah,
only a few hundred people can say they made top 16 at these events, and I think
sure,
it's a big thing.
yeah.
Um, Even a lot of the competitors are repeats, right? The same people go to all the events, so there's probably
Yeah,
even less people that
I
can
was
say.
just looking at DKP's he had a post today where he was talking about winning and losing and confidence and things like that. And I think he said that he's been in a place where he could have won 7 golden Mickeys, and I believe he's won 4 and lost 3. So um and again, for people who don't know, like a golden Mickey is if you make the top 8, you get a serialized golden Brave Little Tailor Mickey Mouse card that it's worth quite a lot of money, but most people, I wouldn't say most people, but it's a trophy at the end of the day. Like, it's one of those, like, there's not too many people that have them. And I made it all the way to the match where I could have won, and my road ended there. I came against a deck that I saw once during Swiss, and so I did see it. I did beat it. But once you're at the top 16, everybody knows what they're doing, and that deck just kind of ran through mine, and I did not fare well against it. Let's just say that.
What was it that you played, dogs?
Amethyst Steel. So yeah, so I was
Oh,
playing
yeah.
Amber Steel. He was my opponent.
Amethyst.
Jonathan Williams was on Amethyst Steel.
Right,
So
that's right.
yep,
But still, a great run.
it was.
Was
Yeah.
very happy for you. I wish I had made the drive back up that second day to cheer you on. I don't know if you stuck around after that or if you got to see, another historic event with the youngest player making top 8.
So if you actually look at there's videos out there of him winning. I am sitting right next to him as he's
Nice.
making that historic run. And so funny enough, we got deck checked that round. So this round 16, or top 16, and so we get deck checked. Our decks go walk off with the judges so that they can count them and make sure that everybody's playing the correct deck. And or the correct amount of cards and all of that. And so we're waiting, and the 10-year-old is playing the reigning world champion DKP, and we have at least the ability to watch like the first game, and it went kind of quick. DKP had pretty much everything he needed to. He was on the play. He had everything he needed to kind of keep. The young gentleman's name is Aiden. He DKP beat him pretty easily. I want to say that first game. The second game, Aiden was on the play, and he actually just wiped the floor with DKP. He went so fast. And then game 3, at this point we got our decks back and we're just playing. And I didn't really pay attention to the game next to me and what was going on because there was a big crowd. The reigning world champ.
Mm-hmm.
He garners a big following, but I think more so the fact that this kid, Aiden, who is 10 or 11 years old, had made it this far, was playing for the Golden Mickey, and goes up against a Goliath of an opponent in the world, the world winner, and out of nowhere the place erupts, and the loudest cheer I've heard at one of these events. And I see the handshake, and Aiden had beaten DKP, and it's kind of this surreal moment. I'm getting my butt kicked, but this kid next to me, makes the top 8 and gets his golden Mickey. So it was pretty cool to see that. So yeah, any video or pictures you see of him winning, I'm literally next to him in
Funny.
my
Then
Pluto hat.
you are truly immortal now because of your association.
Yeah.
Hey, and you were on the same deck, so maybe you had the right idea for the weekend. But
sure.
No, I thought that was definitely a great moment to call out. And again, I haven't been to a ton of huge, large Magic tournaments. I played Magic for, I think 25 years or something like that. There's definitely a different vibe with Lorcana.
Yeah.
and part of that is players like yourself and DKP. I mean, he took the right attitude, right? He could have salted off and said, I lost to a younger, less experienced player, because literally he couldn't have as much experience because he's only been on the earth for 10 years.
Right.
And you know, people can kind of take that route, but for people to cheer on him to take a positive attitude when, again, he just cost himself a big moment, his, first nationals invite for this year and all that.
Right.
Certainly could have taken that route, but he was, very joyous for the kids. Sometimes you got to pause and, you can feel bad for yourself, but to feel joy for your opponent, can help those moments sting a little less.
Oh, for sure. And again, in that same article, I believe that I was reading today, or post, he went on to say that he kind of addressed it because he thought that people had said that, like, he was, upset or salty about it or whatever.
Mhm.
And he said, nothing could be further from the truth, that he enjoyed playing the kid. He never saw a kid play so confidently, or anybody play so confidently. He actually offered to coach him for nationals. And then also, I believe, and I don't know if it actually went through, but I believe he's going to be a part of their team. And so he's
World
now a
class
member.
card. Yeah, I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's nice.
um, pretty awesome all around for that young Aiden. So
Yeah, and I think that's part of what I'm enjoying about Lorcana. Gives a different vibe because of that. A lot of young players, a lot of persons who don't identify as male play the game, and I think
yeah,
that's important too. You get all of my opponents. I played 4 Infinity matches and one Pack Rush. I think I only played against one male player, all female players, all very good opponents. Very welcoming, and that's kind of a lot of the norm, which you don't get in other games as
absolutely.
much.
Yeah, and and whether it's male, female, age, there's so much diversity in the game. And we have different friends that play with us at AF, and yourself included, who bring kids, and they're a part of the game. They're a part of our group. And it's one of those where my daughter, she's 6 years old, and she's already asking, can I go to Friday night Lorcana with you, and things like that, and she could barely read. So we're getting her into the game, or at least I am. We're doing memory match at night and things like that with the cards, and playing, at least to get familiarity with the cards. Doing these little things here and there just to kind of get her exposed to it. But yeah, it'll be cool when she can finally start playing it and understanding it, and then getting better and better at the game.
Yeah, and that's been a big part of my enjoyment. And just to embarrass you, you've always been great to my kids. You don't have
Sure.
to be all the players
Yeah.
really, but especially the younger players, you always seem like you kind of take a good attitude with them, and that's it's I don't take that for granted, because it definitely doesn't happen with everybody, and you've
No,
got a
right.
great group there.
It's one of those. I think that if they just come in and they meet a buzzsaw, or they don't have a good experience, they're not going to want to play the game. And I think with other trading card games, or just games in general, like, if people don't take it too serious, especially in the local events and things like that, like, it's only going to deter people away from playing the game. And you want this the younger kids and friends and family who might not play every week, to keep coming back, even if it is once a month or a couple times, and when you see them, it's exciting to see them. So yeah, it's fun when you get new and younger people to come in and play a game.
Yeah, it is. And again, I think some people can, it's a choice, right? You can
Sure.
that can be, you don't want to be showing people the rules and stuff like that. You want them to come ready, but Lorcana just gives a different feel. And of course, you don't just want to give away the wins to them or anything like that. You want to teach them to do it on their own. But
Right.
we've got a good young group of players coming to the shop. I am hoping my kids have kind of gotten in activities. I hope they'll be back soon. I know we're all excited for the next set.
Right.
But
Yeah.
anything else you wanted to say about your run? Again, you don't have to break it down match by match, but anything that surprised you about the deck, or any moments that you wanted to call out?
So a couple of things. One, in a lot of what people talk about with this set specifically, I did get lucky to a certain degree. One of or you have to dodge your bad matchups, and you have to kind of like play into your strengths, right? And so I definitely did that with the run leading up to the top 32. I saw 7 Blurple matchups, and I was able to beat 6 of them. So I went 6-1 just against Blurple alone. And so then the other 5 decks that I had faced, I played a mirror match, so another Amber Steel. I played an Amethyst Steel. I played a Dogs deck. I lost to my other loss on day 2 was to Sapphire Emerald. And again, you kind of said this before. Or at least alluded to it when at these tournaments, everybody is just so nice. Like that's one of the things that I've noticed. There might have been one bad experience I had, and it wasn't even that crazy. But it just the amount of people when you're talking to them, everybody just kind of loves the game. They love the competition of it. Obviously they want to win, but there wasn't. I never felt like I just won or I beat you and now I feel bad because you're sitting there having a tantrum, which I've had that experience too. At set champs and things like that. So everybody was great, to compete against. And even when I lost, I try to lose graciously and you shake the opponent's hand and things like that. So they were good matches. But again, I had a little bit of luck on that side in terms of what I faced. Now on the die roll, which as you know, can be, it's pretty advantageous. And I actually lost on day 1. I only won 1 die roll, and it was to an Emerald Steel player, and it was again a great match. But that was the only die roll that I won, and it was one of the local teams, Lords of Lore. Sean was his name. Great guy. But yeah, we kept seeing each other throughout the match or throughout the weekend, and I kind of kept rubbing it in his face that I accidentally that like, yeah, you were my only die roll win that day. And so but yeah, again, it was there's a lot of things that could go right or wrong, and I definitely got my matchups, but I definitely did not roll my dice well. So
Yeah, and I think if there's one thing that I hear that people voice about dissatisfaction with this game, it's that it is very die roll dependent.
yeah.
So it's it's good for you to call it out. There are decks out there, you know what, you got to think through your lines. You can win on the draw. I think
Yeah,
Lorcana is getting a little bit better at that. So I do think there is some improvement there. I think the criticisms are valid, but you can win on the draw.
Yeah, and again, in that matchup specifically, that's going a little slower. The extra card kind of helps in that case, where with a deck like mine, where I'm trying to see the right combination of cards while they're trying to ramp or not really play a 1 or 2 drop character all the time. And so I was able to kind of weather that storm at least, one of the 2 times that they were on the play. And then the one time that I was on the play, I was able to kind of just go fast and go all gas and just squeak under them. So, but yeah, it was again a crazy run. Did not expect that to happen.
Do you know
And
how many 1 die roll on day 1, but do you remember day 2? How many did you end up winning?
so day 2, I believe I only won again 1 die roll of the 4 for Swiss, and then
Wow.
the next 2
So
matches, because they were based on your seeding. So I was
you were always lower.
seated,
Yeah.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
seated 23rd. My opponent was 10, so they got to go on the play.
Gotcha.
And it's open deck list, so we got to see each other's decks, that was new for me. Again, I had never really placed high in a tournament or anything like that, where we had the ability to see somebody's deck or even the deck list. But they printed out the deck list, handed it to us. We got to memorize it for a couple of minutes. They even let us like actually physically take their deck and read through it if there was, uh, you know, uh, an effect or something you didn't know, or just in general, you could look at the cards. And so my opponent and I in that top 32 match, it was actually a mirror match. So another Amber Steel player, from TFM, from the Forbidden Mountain.
Mm.
And so he and I had almost identical lists. I played Pete, where he did not. We
Mm,
both had Calhouns, which is a little atypical for the deck. Like it kind of made its way in the last couple of weeks, but we both ran two Calhouns. We both ran Lawrence. I think he was on a couple more copies of Lawrence. I think he ran four. I only run two.
mm,
But he also ran the Lilos. I do not. And then I
mm.
think the other big difference was the Troubadour. I don't run the Troubadour anymore. I cut it a couple weeks ago, and I believe he still was running it. So little differences, and then again, just getting playing your cards and hoping your top deck or we were both pretty patient with our daisies, so like we weren't trying to feed each other's hands and things like that. But I ended up 2-0ing him. But again, it was a good match, and at one point it could have went either way.
Yeah, that's so fascinating. The only mirror I've really played besides on the Forbidden app that we're never supposed to talk about. Um, as I played Mike at our shop, and that lost my
Oh yeah,
chance for the top. And I was like, man, I do not want to ever play this mirror again. I don't know why. I couldn't wrap my head around. I was on the play and thought I was going to run away with it, and
yeah,
he outmaneuvered me.
yeah. Yeah, it's one of those like in early on when I was kind of tinkering with the deck, as I've been known to do, and tinker out of contention, as the story goes. I'm also I tend to not run four ofs for everything. Like certain cards I do, but I also try to like squeeze some other cards in here and there. And so for a little bit, I wasn't running a full four of both rhinos, a full four package of rhinos, and I ended up changing that is because I felt like there would be a decent number of dog stacks and amber and more mirrors with the amber seal, and so to kind of combat the aggro matchups as well, I knew I needed to kind of keep that at a four. So I went back and added the one rhino for each, big and small.
Yeah, I mean that all those changes make sense. And then obviously Pete, if you're trying to give yourself a shot against Amethyst Steel or in the mirror, then if you expect to see that, then it all makes sense.
Yeah, and it happened a couple of times where I was playing where I think it was again I played Amethyst Steel once in Swiss and Amber Steel once in Swiss and in the top 32. And I want to say one of each of those matches, I got to 19 and played a Pete, and there really isn't a way for them to interact with that character. So I'm at 19. They'd either have to win the game instantly there, or somehow clear that character, and there was no interactions at that point. Like they couldn't do anything. They couldn't play any action cards. So it
No
pretty
more
much was,
Madame Medusa.
yeah, it was pretty much win now or you lose. And
Yeah.
so it definitely came in clutch in those moments where I kind of held back and didn't play the Pete a little bit earlier and saved it for a moment like that.
So now we're post top 16 appearance. You're super famous. You're Aiden's, right hand man. Where do you go from here? You've got a nationals invite. Is that correct?
Apparently, yeah. And so I didn't even really realize it until later in the day. I think somebody had said something about it. And the whole yeah. So when I looked it up, I think it's in September of 2026. So we got quite a quite a while till that event. And in the meantime, I'm just gonna keep playing like I always do. I don't think I'm going to go to Richmond, Virginia, but I'll probably go to Indy in June, I believe it is. And so, yeah, just keep playing more set champs, more Friday nights with everybody and hanging out and learning the new meta. And then by that time, it'll be almost 11 months from now, or
Right.
10
You'll be
months,
through
whatever
four
it is.
different metas,
Yeah,
agonizing.
we'll have so many more new cards, and yeah, we'll see. We don't even know what the format is. I'm assuming
Yeah.
there'll be some kind of infinity, part of it, and so
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
so we'll have to, as a group, get some practice in and get me prepared, and hopefully some others too, because I know there's quite a few others who are hoping to crack that tournament.
Yeah, you can relax from here. You're all good until next
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
Back your
Again, I
invite.
did not expect it. I jokingly, went into or when I was getting ready to say bye to my wife and kids, joking with them and saying, like, oh, I'm gonna go, win a trip to Disneyland and that, and then my wife kind of hit me and was like, don't tell him that, like, you're not winning anything, and I'm like, I know, I know, and then I come back and I'm like, kind of won that trip. Like it's not paid
Right.
for or anything, but I have an invite to it. I'm like, I kind of can go to Disneyland now, or hopefully it's
Yeah.
there. I don't know. We'll see where it actually is.
Right. Right. We'll see. I'm sure it is. But well, I guess the only other burning question is now: do you flex and bring the Elsa playmat to
The
Friday
mat.
night?
Yeah,
Do you put it in
that I don't know. I
plastic?
have them here. The
Did you get two?
as part of the pricing, to make day 2, you got 10,000 tickets. So that's the Elsa one.
Oh man, so cool.
It's nice and shiny. Um, that mat we got for making the top 16. So there's a photo out there of like they made all of us open it and like hold them all up, and we all were forced to kind of open them, which at that part I didn't really understand.
Yeah, right.
Um, but the other mat, so they also had a Simba and a Mulan
Mhm.
mat that matched the promo cards that they also gave away. So that with the 10,000 tickets, the tickets I had received for purchasing the entry to the event, and then I ended up, because I didn't have time to play in any side events, I had to purchase a couple of other tickets. So that's the
Mm,
Simba mat. um Again, they put that foiling on there and it's really really nice looking.
super
um
cool. Yeah.
but that's the one that I wanted, the Simba mat. So
Okay.
I'll probably bring that one to
Nice.
AF next. The Elsa one, I don't know.
Yeah, a little
People
bit of
ask
a
her.
step up from your set champs man, I guess. So
Right, yeah, exactly.
you gotta flex on them sometimes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the question I've received a lot is like, are you going to sell it and things like that. And as you can kind of see behind me, I'm a collector of things. I don't
I hadn't
really,
noticed.
yeah. And so I don't know if I'll actually sell it. It depends on the actual amount it goes for and things like that. But I'm typically not a person who sells things. So we'll see. And then yeah, I got everybody got um the different promo cards. So the Pegasus for going to the event.
Hmm.
Um, the Mulan this was my goal. Like this is all I wanted. I just wanted the third win so I could get this card. Um, but then I was able to get the Simba and the Elsa
Very cool.
cards as well. And so they did have non-foil versions of these that you could purchase with the points that you got from playing the event. But I got the foil versions for getting top 64 and top 32.
Yeah, it's so cool. I don't know. Did you get a chance to see any of the non-foil ones? Did anybody else buy them or anything?
I think somebody else got them. Like in our group. Which I want to hit
Hey,
on that a little bit too. Just how many people kept coming up to me, but yeah, I had not seen the non-foil version of them. I've seen them online, like people posting them for sale and things like that, but
they
not.
did a little bit of like the sparkle and underneath Elsa there, and they look
Okay,
super cool. I love non-foil cards. Those are
sure,
the non-foil full arts are my preference anyway. So I was like,
yeah,
usually I try to get one and then like, hey, you got to sell it to pay for your event for
yeah,
the weekend. And I'm like, I don't know, this one's pretty cool.
yeah,
But they
yeah.
did an amazing job. They look so good. The prizes
And
were fun.
you're gonna be happy about the that announcement then for the Daisy full art then with the
Yeah,
non-foil for that. I mean, you
so
gotta get
cool.
both, but
Right. You got to try to get both of them. Yeah, yeah. Too bad they're taking the pins away. They announced that today too. But
yeah, I saw that.
give it
Yeah,
to
I
them,
had
take it
seen
away.
the kit and everything. So, I'm a collector. I have all the spin down or the lore counters. I have the pins. So I think I'm still
Mm,
missing the Lilo from this set. Um,
mm.
so I got to go after that, and then next set it'll be the ruby pin, and then the other two colors or inks that we need to get because they're not gonna do them anymore. So I got to complete those and call it a day.
Yeah. Maybe they'll be more sought after. I guess it's less to collect.
Right?
And
Yeah.
I guess maybe we should have started with this, but before we wrap up, how did you come to Lorcana? Besides, wanting to obsessively collect another thing that you desperately needed in your house
Yeah.
there. I can
Yeah.
see the
Right.
boxes behind you.
Yeah, there's a lot. So I had played Magic for like a few months. I actually a buddy of mine from college had a bachelor party, and one of the things we did was we drafted, and so we played. I kind of got the itch for it. Looked what was in my local area. Went to a couple of Friday night Magics, and it scratched an itch, a competitive itch. You're not playing sports, but it definitely had that. And so I tried it for a few times. But at that point, the price was, I couldn't keep up with the card cost and the new sets coming out every few months and things like that. And so I kind of walked it back. And then I had been going to Amazing Fantasy for since 2011. And so again, if you can tell, there's a lot of Ninja Turtles back there. That's when the Ninja Turtle comic book came out from IDW. And so I went in and said, "Hey, I want every and any cover that comes out for this thing. I collect Ninja Turtles." And through that, that one, act, I kind of found my home there. And Lori and Matt and Mike and everybody that works there, I've known for years now. They've taken care of me, and with books, and now the trading card game and things like that. And so um, I've seen different games come and go that we've played there. We used to play Dice Masters there on Thursday nights before I had kids, and we would do different just board games in general. There was a small group of us that would go and play, till the wee hours of the morning, and then now we do that on Friday, but it's all focused on Lorcana. And so, yeah, it was a game. Disney. I'm a huge, I grew up watching Disney movies, and love all of them and all the characters. And I probably know more about Disney than I should, as a 41-year-old man. And so yeah, I loved everything about it. And then I was like, well, I get to play a competitive trading card game that's Disney as well, and I was hooked from day one. So, yeah.
Yeah, I heard it was out. One of my buddies who also makes comics said, "Hey, have you heard Disney did a trading card game?" And I'm like, "Oh," he's like, "Yeah, I wasn't too into it, but the cards are a little hard to find. If you just want to buy them off me for cost." I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll try it." He mailed them to me. I was like, "Oh, this game seems cool." I had been a patron of Amazing Fantasy for forever too, as well. And I happened to go in on a day there was a sealed draft for Floodborne, and got to beat one certain Jesse Cora in the finals, and said, "Hey, I won the first event. This game must be great. I played Magic for 30 years and barely ever won anything. Maybe this is the game for me." And then I expected just it to kind of be this real, simplistic game, to bring kids into
Right.
it.
Yeah.
But I was happy with the complexity. The rules were cool. The cards look amazing. I'm also a Disney fanatic my whole life. And when I was shocked that my kids got super into it, they had played Magic with me, struggled a little bit with the depth of the rules and things like that.
Sure.
But Lorcana, they were super into. So yeah, we started going there, and have been in ever since. I was glad as future sets came out, they were easier to find because it was
right.
It was
That first one was pretty rough to try to get any product, and then it slowly got better and better until maybe a couple of sets ago where they had a little bit of a run where it was hard to find something, where just scarcity of the pools made some cards a little harder to, or higher cost. But yeah, I don't see myself stopping. I enjoy the game. My kids through this have kind of wanted to play it, and or just in general other games, whether it's playing memory match with it, or they've came out with puzzles recently, so we've been doing the Lorcana puzzles and things like that. But again, it's all kind of focused around Disney, so it's just, yeah, it's something I love.
Yeah, Disney found the one thing they weren't getting our money from, and they
Yeah,
found a way to do it, and
right.
now they've got it forever.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I appreciate you coming on to chat with me again. I know you seem like a humble guy. Maybe you don't want to acknowledge it, but again, you're one of the few of the proud that they can say that they made this accomplishment. You're off to the second ever nationals in the
Yeah.
U.S., so that's a huge thing. So yeah, you got to at least commit to another year, and then if you finish dead last at nationals, you can retire if you want. But.
Yeah. Then I can let it go. But yeah, real quick. So I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who kind of came up to me and helped and supported me through that run. Again, I wasn't expecting it. We had, I had driven up with our buddies, Matt, Mike, and Rob. They kept checking in on me, Gus and Jess and Tiffany and Jerry. I had people from other teams that were there that come to AF like occasionally or more frequently, and Christian and Aaron. I know I'm forgetting, Scott with his kids and his family, they were there playing too. Miguel and Chris kept coming up to me and like checking in every round. And I try to play it cool, or like, not let it, get to me that I was, winning, or on a pretty good streak at the time. And they would always be like, and so yeah. And then, they offered to get me, food and caffeine and drinks and anything. And so, and people from other teams, Santiago and his brother Adrian, they ran lines with me, play lines, the match before, the top cut and things like that. And so, the Chicagoland area, and specifically, the people that we play with at AF, definitely came out and helped and supported me, whether it was watching me or, checking in. And our buddy, he's going to kill me if I don't mention him, but our buddy Jake, every match on the text, like after everything, he knew before I even really submitted it that what had happened. And, kind of just telling me to, all right, next game, keep your head down, get rest up, and don't let it go to my head, and kind of just keep pushing forward. So yeah, I appreciate everybody's support and kindness and everything. It was great.
It was definitely fun for us too. I was obsessively refreshing like it was the Super Bowl or something.
Right.
Telling my wife, giving my wife the updates. When you lost that late round, I was devastated. I was down, but and then some of us, the app was working, some wasn't. So we were in the Discord, like, what's going on? What's going on?
Right. Yeah.
It's a good time, because the first DLC I went to in Chicago, I didn't know anybody that well, and a few people, and it was just cool. Yeah, just kind of run into you. It's in your backyard. We're fortunate; we've gotten quite a few here in the Midwest.
Yeah, and it's still the next one's like still just as close. I mean, it's only like a 3-hour drive, so we're not hurting for them for sure. But it'll definitely be fun to get back to one, and if more and more people go, and hopefully next time we get it might not be a jersey, but we should get a team at least shirt or jersey or something together. I know I kept trying to get something together, and just life happens, and we didn't get anything out the door fast enough. So maybe now we'll get something together.
Yeah, this better spark somebody. I do know many local t-shirt printers, so I'll talk to Matt. We'll get some reasonably priced and get some
for sure
shirts.
Yeah, this picture though, it's funny because again, my wife was like, "Can you just please smile?"
I mean, you got to look rough and tough in your Pluto hat, right?
Yeah, right. I got him over here. So funny enough, is
that being retired, or is that official, or is you want to retire him while he's at his best?
Well,
run,
my son told me he wants his hat back. This is my son's hat.
Oh,
when we went to Disney last year, this was his, and I stole it, like I think for a set champ, and I won with it. So I'm like, I got to keep going with it. So I wore it again. And I was gonna wear this one, but it didn't come in time, and so I had ordered it to kind of replace the Pluto. But now I think I got to wear the Pluto one every time.
Yeah, I think so. Until he lets you down, I think it's Mickey's best friend from here on out.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. We'll see if my son lets me steal it again.
Yeah, he may not. That's funny. Well, I was glad. Yeah, that was I know that's how I was able to find you. I took a picture, in the crowd while I was kind of walking around. I was like, oh, there's that.
Yeah, just look for the bright yellow.
You and the guy with the giant Cusco head were the easiest.
Right. Yeah. There were a couple of definite standout, costumes, and people took that stuff serious, man. Like the Bell, the inventor, Bell, costume was really cool. The Cusco one was really cool. I'm trying to think of other ones. I saw the Maui, spandex outfit, guy was running around with. So there were a lot of people in some pretty intricate costumes and some cosplays. So it was.
I played a pack rush against a woman who was human Ariel after she gets her legs in the dress. And I dominated her with Ursula, who happened to be in my carpool, and I was like, I'm sorry, this is very apropos.
Salt on the wound.
So she's like, I can't get rid of this Ursula. I'm like, well, you are.
Yeah.
That was funny. Yeah, people take that seriously, and that's cool.
Yeah, no, it is. And again, it's just I'm even rocking the Mickey right now, so I have a bunch of it, and it's kind of definitely creeped into my everyday life, the Disney element of it. And even though again Ninja Turtles is all behind me and everything, but the Disney part is definitely is a big part.
Well, yeah, we'll have to have you come on when you inevitably reach top 8 for nationals, but until then, good luck, unless you play my daughter at
right. Can't beat her. She's too good. That message was pretty funny too.
Well, I appreciate it. I know you got little ones like I got running around, so I'll let you get get out of here, and we'll talk to you hopefully in the future.
Yeah, I will. I'll see you at AF for League.